So we started Monday. So we started Monday off strong in the AI and tech space, guys. The first thing I wanted to go over here was Palantir, as I entered a position here on PTIR, but I wanted to show you guys some of the trends and how it's looking on Palantir. Couple things. First, we see it really holding above that 200-day moving average. It's been consistently staying above it, especially since this recent breakout. The EMA, which is that blue line right there, you can see it's been holding above it. We had it pull back quite a bit in mid-November. It pulled below that EMA, pushed back up, and now we see Palantir, guys, pushing up to that previous high, $68 at market open today before it sold off to about 64.25. Now, as we take a look at Palantir in the shorter term, maybe it sells off a little bit down to this previous support that we could see right here. It's possible. You see this consolidation happening, that we could see it sell off what would be another basically 4% or 5% down to that support level that is established at $61. However, in the bull case, we also see that it is kind of setting up itself for what would be a continued direction upward. And you don't want to get ahead of yourself, I guess, when we're looking at Palantir. But one of the things that I just noticed is it's really been holding this pretty strong. I don't want to say that it's perfect, and in fact it is a little bit up above that moving average, and we could see it continue to sell back down a little bit more. But when we look at the technicals, like here's a high right here at 58, and we saw kind of right around 61, and then around 63, and really pushed up there to 68. But I'm just gonna pull this consolidation that happened around 64.50, and then you can see that $69 a share price level that we're kind of looking at as the next kind of bull. It's a little tough to tell that the uptrend, but I could tell you guys that just by kind of looking at the overall direction, we saw this recent push up right at market open or pre-market really peak out on the RSI, so it was looking overbought. The MACD was looking overbought, but we saw Palantir sell off. Now the MACD looking more like a buy. RSI, again, it looks like there could be some room to go down, like we said, down here to this retest this uptrending support. But even sometimes, like right here, that relative strength here didn't actually go all the way down to that 30 level. It actually stayed up, so we could see it stay up. I do think the overall direction is up, and I think that looking at all the indicators on Palantir, technically it looks that way, that it's going to continue its upward direction. Now, if we look at Palantir, even on the longer term, and we kind of take a look from this low here, which was like $20, and kind of pull that up through these levels, it really broke out right here on obviously November 4th when we had the elections. And then if we look at kind of what that looks like here, right? So that's where we saw, or this is where we saw the breakout happen. And it didn't even take the time to retest. It actually just continued up, holding above that EMA. Now we see this new level here, and this new level is really a similar trajectory that we saw back here. It's just looking like now this previous resistance that we saw, see that previous resistance at $57, is now going to be acting as a support. So it's kind of same sentiment of upward direction, but when you're on a bullish stock like this, you have to look at the trends more in, or you have to look at the support and the resistance more in that kind of level, right? Of being up, uptrending, right? It's a rising higher low and higher high. We have that level right there, and then we have this level right here. Now, the interesting thing that we could see happen here is you see this resistance right here at 62, resistance at 63, consolidated a little bit at around 63 before pushing up. This was pre-market today. Now we see it go back and actually retest this previous resistance. You see that previous resistance there where we've seen consolidation in the past. Now we're at a point where MACD is looking overextended. It is below that moving average, that EMA, so we could see that act as a resistance and it continues down. But if it were to continue its uptrend, right here would be that level where we would see it continue up. And that's kind of why I got into Palantir. That would be, if we see it continue up here, that would be about a 7% increase here. Or if it continues back to that low, it would be about a 4.5 or 5% decrease. So if you're trading PTIR, which is 2x leverage, it would be going up what would be 14% and going down what would be about 10% in this kind of range that we're seeing here. If we see it push back up here, obviously that would be if it breaks out above 68 because it got rejected at that previous resistance that we saw it hit right here. And if for some reason it were to break out, for some reason, there's so many fundamentals. There's the AWS partnership with Amazon, Anthropic, which is partnered with AWS, going to be using Claude AI and Palantir. You have JP Morgan partnering with Palantir. You have the US government in multiple instances, including the Department of the Defense, including the Army. And so now, you know, you're at this resistance here. Fundamentals look good. Technicals look like it's kind of at this support. And if we see it break above that $68 level right here, then we would really be looking at a continued, really what would be a new level, and we'd see it continue up. Now, there were some updated price targets today from $65 up to $75. I saw Bank of America upgraded Palantir to $75 a share. They are working, they partnered with some companies that are really prominent like Amazon and Google. And so you want to look for those things, but you also want to say, hey, if you have these big companies, like what happened to NVIDIA? Why did they become so powerful? Well, because you had Tesla relying on them and Apple relying on NVIDIA. You know, in all of these companies, like you had Google, Supermicro Computer, and among others relying on NVIDIA, and that's why NVIDIA became such a powerhouse. So Palantir, it figured out, at the end of the day, just under 0.75%. So we'll see how it rides, and I'll keep you guys updated. For those of you guys that would like to watch me trade live tomorrow at Market Open, I would encourage you to check out that second link down below. We have a Black Friday sale for this week for Stockmate. That's our private community. We get 70+ lessons on how to trade in the stock market, including fundamentals and technical analysis. And if you want to surround yourself with other traders, investors, and entrepreneurs, that's the place. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully I earned your thumbs up. Do consider subscribing, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take care, team.